Hola everyone, welcome, bienvenidos. My name is Carla Solórzano and today we're talking about the first dance. And with me is choreographer Desi Jevon. Hi Desi, welcome, bienvenido.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No, thank you for accepting the invitation. I'm so excited to talk about dancing and choreography today. I always like to start with asking you guys to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story and how you got to do what you're doing today, which is choreographing and dancing.
Okay, I started off, I was always a performer as a kid, doing acting and all that kind of stuff, but never dancing. I danced, like break dancing and stuff with my cousins and friends in the street and whatever. But, and as salsa at like family parties, but like nothing, nowhere near professional. And and I also grew up playing basketball and sports and stuff, but I was like really good at imitating. Like my favorite player when I was young, when I was little, was Michael Jordan, and then later on Allen Iverson and Dwayne Wade. So I grew up imitating them, like to the T, to the perfection. Like I could walk like them, I could kind of dribble like them a little bit, but like I could imitate the way they walked and their mannerisms, which is really weird because I could never play like them, but I could imitate them the way they walked. Fast forward to I was already an adult. I think I was like a teenager or maybe just 20 or something like that. I was doing a play, but it was a musical. But I was hired as an actor, and I didn't sing or dance. And then the musical was set in the 40s, and so they were dancing like mambo, cha cha cha, swing, Lindy Hop, and I saw the dancers rehearsing, and I was like, oh, I can do that. I kind of, I grew up doing that. I didn't realize that was considered professional dance.
Mm-hmm.
And long story short, I ended up picking it up really well, even though I wasn't supposed to be in the dance number. I ended up getting like solo parts and featured parts, and then I got hired to do professional jobs after that. So I sort of learned on the job. Going back to the basketball thing, imitating people, really that's what you're doing, and you're imitating the choreographer. So because I was able to imitate people just from watching them, as I started doing more and more dance jobs, I was just imitating the choreographer, imitating them in their dancing. I already had like athletic ability of jumping and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, all I did was imitate the choreographer. But much later on, I got real training. I was on multiple scholarships. I was born in Northern California, but I grew up in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
I got my professional career in Hawaii and doing plays and commercials as far as dancing is concerned. And then I moved to New York City. I got more training. I got onto more scholarships and like really, really trained. Then eventually I moved out to LA, and my dance resume just killed my acting resume. So eventually I just became a full-time professional dancer, and later on as a choreographer, just because it always fascinated me, being a choreographer. It's kind of like you're putting a puzzle together, and I don't know, and here I am talking to you.
Yeah, and I also know that you recently were in a TV show, right, related to
Yeah.
dancing, and tell me a little more about that.
So Showtime has a brand new TV show called Penny Dreadful City of Angels.
Okay.
It takes place in Los Angeles, 1938, and it's amazing. It was like the creator John Logan wrote this during quarantine, because um, all the issues that we have today and all that we're going through in quarantine, all this um, things that are going on. I mean, it is right there in the TV show, even though we've been filming it since September of
Wow.
last year, and we finished filming at the very beginning of February. So it's weird. It's like history repeats itself, sadly.
Yeah.
But It's an incredible production, and it's filmed like you're watching a movie. The
Wow.
time period, 1938, is the late 30s into the 40s is my favorite time period, as I said earlier. And it's crazy that that's how my dance career started.
Mm-hmm.
I'm for the whole season. I'm the assistant choreographer. There's a choreography team. There's two assistants, and under the main choreographer is Tommy Tanj, and we sort of, it's an amazing mesh of all of dance that was going on during that time. I just explained was mambo, cha-cha, lindy hop, swing, and cultures were kind of mixing in with cultures in this big dance hall, where they went on the weekends in within the show.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like fusing dances together, like the mambo was fusing in with the lindy hop, and it's an amazing production to be a part of. I mean, people have zoot suits on. I got to be on camera, and I'm wearing a zoot suit, high hair. I grew up my mustache,
Oh
and
my God.
the old cars. And it's such a even though the topics are really heavy and in the story, but that those dance scenes, it's so much life in there, and I had a great time working on it, and hopefully we'll be back for a second season.
Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait to watch it. I also love that, you know, time and the old cars, the vintage
Oh,
cars. And I'm sure you guys, um, usually when productions go to that time, they put so much effort to make it look exactly like that. So I'm sure you guys
oh
did
yeah.
an amazing job. I can't wait to watch it.
Oh yeah, it is. Like the cars are authentic, the zoot suits are authentic.
That's awesome.
It's beautiful.
That's awesome. Okay, Desi, but today we're here to talk about wedding dancing and choreography. The first dance specifically, because I know you work with couples before and you help them with first dance. And there's some challenges there. So I wanted to make sure you help us through to understand the process for those couples that want to do that. So the first challenge, I think, and I'm sure you know this, is picking the right song. There's always this dilemma. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to dance. They don't know if they should keep it traditional. I'm sorry. So what advice you have for couples when it comes to picking the first dance song?
To me, this is the most important part.
Mm-hmm.
Picking out the song, and it probably takes the longest, because it should mean something to both of them.
Right.
And it doesn't. The big mistake that a lot of people go through is they feel like it has to be, like Cinderella
Yeah.
and Prince Charming dancing the waltz in this big ballroom, and sometimes it can be that, but it could be something silly like MC Hammer,
Yeah.
or Belle Biv DeVoe, like that girl is poison. It could
Yeah.
be something silly, and it depends on what the couple's personality is, and depends on how their family is. Sometimes people's families are very conservative. Sometimes they're like outdoing each other in each other's weddings. Like, well, in my dance, I have like 5 backup dancers, and it really depends. But at the end of the day, it should mean something
Mm-hmm.
to the couple. Whether it could be their song, or it could be the song that was playing on the radio when they first met, or maybe the words mean something meaningful to both of them.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's my parents danced to this song, but it should mean something. But it also should, preferably it's entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, even though the wedding's for you, I don't know. I'm too much of a performer that I want to entertain the audience while they're there as well. But
Well,
it is the hardest thing to do, to
yeah.
pick.
And do you help them through the process if they come to you and they want to do a choreography but they're not sure what song, or they probably have a style? Can you help them picking a song, or you leave it that to them
I
because it's so personal?
No, I definitely do give them suggestions,
Okay.
but also I ask them if you know they have songs
Mm-hmm.
in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, I worked with a couple that they were like, you know, I want to do a 60s theme, and you know, I don't know why, but we like that time era, and we want to do a 60s theme, and and then I said, oh, okay, well, you know, I have a lot of suggestions, but you
Mm-hmm.
know, why don't you guys think, and then I'll think, and they came into me with this song, and I said, I love that song. However, that's from the 1970s. But
Uh-huh.
if you want to go with that song, that's fine. But if you're doing your whole party in the 1960s, um, you know, it's the wrong time period. And so they're like, oh, I wasn't aware of that. And then I suggested a few songs. So it depends. It is a team effort. I do let them, you know, sort of guide the show, but I'm there
Mm-hmm.
to help them as well. Like, or you know, sometimes I'll suggest it happened in the past. I'm like, you might want to listen to the lyrics in this song. It might
Yeah.
not be appropriate for a wedding. Because sometimes they're not paying attention.
No.
You know, um, I sing songs all the time, and I'm like, oh wow, I never paid attention to the words.
Yeah.
So I do suggest things, but I also, you know, I want them to feel like they're very involved and it means something to them.
Right, right. And now that you say the lyrics, this happens a lot with salsa songs. Salsa songs are
Oh,
dirty.
yes, yes.
So people pay attention if you're dancing to a salsa song. um, okay, so I want to go back to the, if you're not traditional, you don't have to do a traditional thing. And you mentioned something that I like is like this couple, it was like a 60 theme, and they did the dance, you know, like the 60s too. So that's great. That's a way to make it fun and unique, right? Because that's what you want.
Right.
Do you have any
Right.
other examples or tips on how to make it fun or unique?
What I always like, me personally, like to watch is if they start off serious and then they break off into something funny.
Yes.
I mean, me personally, as an audience member, like it's entertaining because it kind of comes out of nowhere. Now, working in this industry, you see a lot of that, but it's
Right.
not like everybody goes to weddings all the time. We
No.
see it, but people at the weddings don't see it.
Yep.
You know, we're behind the scenes. So it's I like the element of surprise, or I like, you know, sometimes it's even funny where, like, you know, I've had some people that their friends or their workmates never knew that they grew up dancing, and so they break out into like this crazy dance, and you're like, oh my god, like, it's, you know, it's an element of surprise.
Yeah, yeah. I had some couples that did that. I had one couple that they started. He was a musician. She is I don't remember. So they, like, you know, hair dyed, and they started with like a waltz, and everybody was like, "What are they doing?" And then the song changed, and they did the whole choreography of the, I forgot. I forgot
Oh
the
yeah,
movie.
Pulp Fiction, yes.
Uh, the Pulp Fiction movie. They did the whole thing, and
Pulp
people
Fiction,
were,
yeah.
they enjoyed it so much. Everybody grabbed their phone, started taking videos, and so that was, you know, that make to make feel the audience something at your wedding or something unexpected. I think that's super cool. And
Yeah.
I also have another one that they really had a great choreography with lifts and stuff. They were all out, and people at the end of the thing were standing and applause. It was like a show. It was great. I loved it. So there are all these feelings, right? So to me, as a planner, I'm always in the back. Some dances I just want to cry. Some dances I'm like, "Woo, let me
Yeah.
record this. I'm so excited." So yeah, I love that. It's, you have to make it fun. That's what I think. Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so walk us through the process so couples understand when they want to do a choreography. they reach out to you, or I reach out as a planner to you, how does it work? Do you do like a assessment first and see if they can move? So how does it work?
Usually I go in, I've found this to work for me. I talk with them on the phone, and usually they'll kind of give me, we're an older couple, so we can't move, but we want to dance, or I can dance really well, but he can't. And sometimes it's the exact opposite when I meet them. It's like, wait, I thought you were the one that could dance and he couldn't dance. But usually I get a little bit, I talk to them for a while. The first thing again I ask them is like what their their music is, and if they want one song, two songs, three songs. And then once the song is chosen, I go in and I into the first meeting with them, like the first rehearsal. I have like the chorus, because usually the chorus, I know what the chorus is going to be. Like that's the mood of the dance. That's like the hook. And I know what that's going to be, but I also go in with, I work with a lot of actors on film and TV, and I also work with a lot of professional dancers. And with both, I have to go in, but I have to be able to change things. So especially like with actors, you're not 100% sure. Maybe you see them on TV or in movies all the time, but you don't really know what their dance background is. And some actors say like, I grew up dancing all my life, and you're like, you don't know how to dance at all. You're like, it happens, but you kind of have to adapt as a choreographer, because our job is to teach you the steps, but it's also, and to create the steps and the whole picture, but it's also to make you look good. So I go in with the chorus kind of done, but I know like I have version A, B, and C. Okay. Like if okay, let me see how they're working together, and I'll try and push them, because I want them to do well, and I want them to have challenging choreography and wow the audience. But at the same time, if I feel like, okay, this is never going to happen. I mean, their wedding is in 2 months. Like, there's no way this is going to happen. I'll change it, but I'll still make it look good. And, sometimes that option actually is the better one. When I look at it at the end, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I was going to make them do this one thing. But because I changed it, if it has the same result at the end, it doesn't matter to me. Like, it doesn't matter to the audience. Like, it had the same result.
They don't know.
So, yeah, they don't know, and, the point is to make them look good, to make them feel comfortable. So I go in with a couple of versions, and then I see how it goes from there. I never do the entrance. I never do the ending, because I don't know what their personality is in the first one. So I don't know what their personality is. Like, I can't give them this funny, like a funny entrance if they're not those type of people. Or I can't give them this like crazy ending if I don't feel like they can handle it. So the entrance and the finish and the ending, I always save towards the ending. And they were always freaking out, like, well, how do we enter? And I'm like, I always explain to them first. I start with the chorus because I know that that's going to be there, and I know what that's going to be like. But you let me know you first. Let me get to know you, and let me cater it and cater it to you.
That's very good, very interesting. And do you ask the bride to rehearse with the shoes?
That's super important, and that's what they will all forget about.
Yeah.
So dancing in heels and walking in heels, completely different things. 100%. There are dance classes called heels classes that women teach, female dancers teach specifically so other female dancers know how to dance in heels. It's a big thing. Like you need to know how to dance, and a woman should be teaching you like how to dance in heels. I can't teach that class because I don't know how to dance in heels.
That's complicated.
I could teach a combo, but like it's different. So there's classes specifically for that. Wow. But not like they need to take a class. Okay. I'm just saying professional dancers take classes just to learn how to dance in heels. So it's something that the couple, it's easy for them to forget. What I do in the very beginning, on the first meeting, I ask the girl, you know, usually she doesn't want her fiance to see the dress. So I'm like, tell me what the dress, like I pull her on the side, tell me what the dress is like. Does it have a slit? Does it have a trail? Like, are you going to be able to bustle it up? I need to know how much you can move. And you know, it's a huge thing if they can't move their legs or they can actually move their legs, you know.
Yeah.
The second thing is once they have the routine done. Oh, going back to the dress, and then I'll have them wear towards the ending. Once, like, if they had a handful of lessons,
Excuse me.
I'll have them towards the ending wear something similar, so they're used to practicing in a dress like that, or a skirt, just to help with the practice. Now the shoes, once they have the routine done, towards the ending of the rehearsal process, I'll have them wear not the same shoes because you don't want to ruin them, but similar in height for the girls' heels,
Okay.
and for both of them, the bottom the same. So, for instance, if the guy's been practicing in sneakers,
Yeah.
it's a whole different ball game if he's gonna get married in leather bottoms. Like that is, it's like you're on ice skates.
Yeah.
So you have to get used to it. Or I need to know as a choreographer, do I need to change this? Because if you're sliding all over the place, I'm going to change a certain step to make you look good. But it's totally different than, and especially for the guy, if he's turning her, if she has sneakers on, she's this high. She has heels on, she's this high.
Yeah.
So you have to get used to the height. It's for both people.
True.
So yeah, and another thing I have them do. Usually I'm not there at the wedding. Majority of the time I'm not. I'll tell them if they can sneak in, like once the ceremony happens and everyone's going into the reception, sneak in and do a run through. So you feel the floor, but you also feel the space. Singers do it, professional singers do it, dancers do it. Like I need to feel like where I'm at. The audience, where your mom is going to be, where your in-laws are going to be. You want to be able to envision it because you don't want to think about that while you're performing.
Wow.
And even if they have a rehearsal the night before, they can do that as well. Just wear the shoes or something similar so you get used to being in the space on the exact dance floor. You know what what it's going to feel like underneath the bottom of your feet. We do it all the time. The first time I performed at Madison Square Gardens, if I didn't go up on the stage when there was no audience, I don't know, I would have cried. I was so nervous, but the fact that I was able to get up on the stage, feel the stage, feel what it feels like to look out, it eased me. It eased my nerves, and that couple needs to have their nerves eased up. There's a lot going on that day.
Yeah. I love that
Yeah.
you're saying that, you know, to go there and do a run through. So maybe you know the space, and then maybe the nerves are a little down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And also I'm thinking about this this is funny. Usually on the timeline, the dance happens right after the grand entrance. So I have couples that are like the opposite. Some of them are like, yeah, I just want to get it over with. And some others like, I want to do it after dinner, so I have a couple of drinks already on me, so I'm not nervous. But yeah. I recommend, I don't know what you say about this, I recommend this choreography, just do it at the beginning, because if you've been drinking, you don't know what you're going to do with alcohol involved.
I tell them that all the time. Get it over with. Yeah. First of all, your hair is going to look on point.
Yeah.
The makeup is going to look on point. If you're like mingling and drinking and eating and, you know, you especially eating, you don't want to do like a lift or dance after that. You want to, and you want to enjoy the party. Because if you're worried about a dance that's about to happen, you're not going to enjoy yourself, or you're going to drink too much.
Yes.
So I always recommend it. Get it over with.
Perfect. Agree. I agree.
Yeah, and then you'll look good on the video. You 20
Yes.
years from now, you're
Yes.
gonna look at the video.
It's important because you're gonna look back to that video and see like, oh, okay, it was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
And you know
Yeah.
what is a good icebreaker that also people don't talk about? There's probably a name for it, but I don't know the name. It's when they introduce the whole wedding party. It's
Oh,
the
the grand
walkout,
entrance. Yeah, the grand
the
entrance.
grand entrance. If you pick a fun song, that gets out all the nerves.
Yes.
That gets out all the nerves, and you're not going in ice cold.
Yep.
That walk, if it's a fun song and you're having fun with it, if you're about to do this choreographed dance, it gets out all that nerves, and you're with your friends, your party, your oh my God, I can't think of the name.
The wedding party.
Yeah, wedding party.
Don't worry, it's fine. I don't know all the terms for dancers and choreographers. Yeah, I agree with that. It takes, you know, getting into the groove, into the mood. So it's a completely different energy after the grand entrance, for sure. So I have another question. When you were saying before that on the, you usually prepare like the middle part of the dance, I call it that way because I forgot how it's called. See, I don't know the terms.
Of course.
Yeah, there you go. and then you read them, right? You read the couple and see what their personality is. How do you handle those shy beginners, grooms? Usually the groom, the bride is
Right.
grooms.
It's usually
Usually the grooms. How do you do that? And also, you told me a story before that I loved is about the count. I was, I took, you guys, full disclosure, I taken salsa classes with Desi, and I'm Latina. I dance. I can dance salsa, but never on count, so never choreographed. So when I took this class for the first time, I was like 1, 2, 3. When I was like, well, ¿qué es esto? So I'm sure that happens when couples go to your class and you're trying to count them and they have no clue of what you're telling them. So how does that work?
Of course. First of all, by the way, you did amazing in my class. You did great. We're our worst judge. We're our worst critic.
It's true. It's true.
So let me see. So getting over the shyness, yes, usually it is the guy, but sometimes it's opposite.
Yeah.
I bring up the point that you're doing this together. So when you do a dance together, it is not just about putting on a performance. It's about that journey of doing something together. You're building something together from scratch. You're first of all, you're in this boot camp that's kind of like Dancing with the Stars and the military at the same time. And I'm not a drill sergeant, but it's like you're working towards something, and it has to be step on one, and you're like, God, I just want to go out there and do my thing, but not recommended. Get it choreographed. So I remind the other person that you're doing this for the other person as well. Like maybe the bride has always wanted to have a dance at their wedding, and so you're working on this together. And again, 20 years from now, when you watch that video, you're going to see something that you guys accomplished together that was impossible.
Yeah.
And I always show the video, or I always take a video after rehearsal, and I make sure after each rehearsal I get their camera and I take a video, and I always make them do homework. And I said, so next time you guys come here, we want to go forward. I don't want to go backwards. You have to at least memorize. It doesn't have to be perfect. You have to memorize those steps because you have this video. But I also have them look at the video and point out the good things that are happening. And it actually it surprises people that they might not know that they're actually doing good. Going back to yourself, like you actually were doing really well in that class, but you're not seeing it from the outside. Right. And so I show people like hey, look at the video. You're actually doing really well. And then the
That's
next
good.
one gets even better and better. And I always tell them, like, look at both. Look at the first one and look at after the second rehearsal. Like, look at your progress is getting better. Now going back to the rhythm and being on count, this happens a lot, especially with salsa. It's like, no, I grew up dancing salsa and I go to clubs, but it's different when it's choreographed. It's very, very, very different.
Yeah.
Because you have to like match the music exactly. And so it's really different. And everybody learns differently. So like in that class, you came to my group dance class.
Right.
So I'm teaching on counts. So when I'm one-on-one with a couple or one-on-two with a couple, it's very different. I cater to how they're learning. A lot of times it's words. So I'll tell them, like, if I see they're not getting the counts, I will always give counts. And maybe one person reacts to counts and the other one doesn't.
Right.
Sometimes it's words. I'm like, okay, well, instead of me saying step on one with your left foot, I'll say step on the word you. And on three, step on make. So like I'll cater to how they're learning. Or I've had musicians in there and they don't count in 8 counts like dancers do. They count in measures or bars. So I'll count in measures or bars for them. So it just kind of help them understand it. A very good example. I used to choreograph for a couple of seasons on Mi Sueño es Bailar on Estrella TV, which is Dancing with the Stars, Spanish Dancing with the Stars.
Right.
And my first celebrity was Fernando Vargas, he was a former middleweight champion. And I grew up playing like him on the video games. And I was like shocked, like, oh my God, I'm so excited. And the first rhythm was salsa. And I was like, oh my God, he cannot dance. And I was like, oh God, okay. Because, if you think of a boxer, most of the time they're not dancers. But as I was working with him, I was like, oh. And again, I grew up playing him on the video games. And I was like, oh, they're very good with rhythms, because when they're training, 1, 2, 3, pop, 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 pop. So there's a rhythm to it. And when they're jumping rope, there's a rhythm to it. So I started explaining things in a rhythm to him, so he would understand it. And it worked. I mean, he wasn't the best dancer in the world, but he did really good. And especially from that first rehearsal was really hard. But by the time he got on stage, he looked really good. Like, I was really, really happy for him, like, that he did good. He went up there with confidence. But, you have to adapt to how each person learns. So it's different for everyone.
That boxer story, I love it. Well, you're a choreographer, you're a creative person, so of course you're going to find ways to teach. Hello, Carla. And so is there a standard time for couples to learn a dance? Like, I don't know, I'm just making this up, 5 sessions. I don't know. So how does that work?
Well, that question gets brought up a lot too. That depends on how elaborate and how clean they want their dance, right? And everybody learns differently. I could get 2 professional dancers and they're like, cool, just give me 2 hours, I got it. Or give me an hour. And then it could be, it depends. Like, if somebody wants it like 3 minutes long, so that's like mixing in a couple of songs, or sometimes even 4 minutes long. I would suggest roughly around 12 lessons. That's an hour each.
Okay.
I try not to do more than 2 hours at a time, because people's brain starts going. Usually it's 1 hour at a time, maybe an hour and a half. At the max, 2 hours. And so I would suggest somewhere around 10, 12 hours. And again, that's with people doing homework in between. And that's an estimate. Some people like a lot more. Some people have taken a lot more because they want to feel 100% comfortable on stage.
Right.
If you take Dancing with the Stars, each routine that they do is 1.5 minutes long. Now, I'm talking when it's with the celebrity and the professional.
Right. Yeah.
Not the group dances.
Right.
just the competing numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a minute and a half, and I always tell them, like, if you want to gauge it like that. So if they're doing a minute and a half, 2 minute long number, at the very least, I would say 5, 6 lessons. And that's kind of pushing it. That's doing a lot of homework in between. The worst thing that you want to do is go out on stage, especially if you had a whole long wedding and all this planning and the family coming in from all over the world or wherever
Mm-hmm.
they came from, and you're hosting people and you're picking out the cake and the colors, and you're doing all of this stuff. The last thing you want to do is think about choreography and steps. So if you can tackle all of that in the rehearsal part, you can actually enjoy your wedding. But I've had people just kind of do a couple of lessons, and they didn't feel as comfortable. But that's all the time you have. That's all the time you have. But
Right.
I highly suggest more rehearsal than to have more rehearsal than you need, because then you'll feel comfortable.
Right. And would you say they should do it like 6 months out, 3 months out to the wedding day? Does that really matter or not really?
Well, at the very least, 2 months before the
Mm-hmm.
wedding. That
Mm-hmm.
way you're not stressing. I've had emergency, like, I'm getting married in 2 weeks and I want a routine, and I'm like, all right, if you want to put yourself through this, but okay, let's go.
Wow. Okay, that's very ambitious.
Yeah, I would never suggest that. I would suggest 2 weeks, 2 months at the least, like 2 months till the wedding. If you want to feel super comfortable, 5 or 6 months before. That way you're not like cramming in, like, I got to do this every single, like, 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
You're at least you're spreading it out.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Is there any other advice you want to add for couples looking into choreographing their first dance?
The important thing is have fun out there.
Yeah.
Have fun on the stage. Yeah, stress and perfect all your dance steps during the rehearsal process, but don't forget to have fun. When you're picking your song, don't forget to have fun. A wedding, in my opinion, a marriage, in my opinion, and I'm no one to give advice, but it's to have fun with each other.
Yes.
Being on stage and being in life, I think you just need to have fun out there. But put in the work when you're rehearsing and just have fun.
Yeah, yeah. And also this will be that, the first homework besides the planning, that's also another teamwork, right? Working together to get this
Teamwork.
amazing dance out.
Yeah.
So I love that. Desi, I have 2 more questions for you, fun questions, just so people can get to know you a little more. What is your favorite food?
Okay, if you ask me, it will be ice cream, but that's never really a food.
Well,
Pasta.
can you eat it?
But I'll go for the ice cream first.
Okay, so once another person that I interviewed said that to me. Can you eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Their ice cream?
Well,
if you can, it's a food. If you cannot, then it doesn't count.
Okay, so pasta.
Okay. Okay, but going back to the ice cream, because now I'm curious. Any flavor that you prefer?
Anything with nuts, pistachio, almond, butter pecan, anything with nuts in there.
Hazelnut? No.
Hazelnut, yeah.
I like that one. And how about your favorite cocktail or your favorite drink?
My favorite drink is wine, but if you're red wine, but if you're going with cocktails, it's a toss-up between a vodka martini and a drink in Vegas they call a beautiful, or anywhere else they call a French connection, which is cognac and Grand Marnier.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It's a harsh drink.
Yeah,
but
I can do
really
that.
Good.
I cannot do the martini. I don't like vodka or gin. It just gets me back to my college, university times. I think I drink too much of that, so no. I like that. What is the call again of the cognac and Graminier?
It's a French Connection. Most places they call it that, but in Vegas you have to order it as a beautiful.
Beautiful. Okay.
It's called a beautiful.
Because after so many, everybody looks beautiful to you. I don't know.
Everybody looks beautiful.
Oh, I like it. Okay, that's
now
good.
I see where my mistake in Vegas was. Now I see it.
Oh, I love it. Okay. Desi, where can people find you?
You can follow me on Instagram, Desi Babalu, which hopefully you'll leave the link down below.
I will.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I also know, well, maybe right now, no, because we are, in the middle of a pandemic, but you also do, and hopefully we'll get back soon to your salsa classes, right? So if anybody wants to join your classes, where can they find you?
I teach partnering salsa classes normally, but right now we're in this epidemic, so I'm only teaching. It's called Latin Shines, which is basically Latin footwork. I add in it's a lot more like jazz and hip hop heavy,
okay,
mixed in with like salsa, cha-cha, bachata. You can go to EdgePack, that stands for Performing Arts Center.com, so edgepack.com. I teach virtual classes on there, so it goes through Zoom, and those are live. And then at that studio is in Hollywood, so normally you can go there and take my real salsa class, which is all partnering. And same with the other studio I teach at is in Pasadena called Athletic Garage, and there we do a video on demand. Same class, Latin Shines, and I'm sure you'll have the links down below.
Yeah, I'll add all those links so people can access easily, and they can find you. You guys, Desi's classes are a lot of fun. And also on the athletic club, I've been in a few parties. Well, you do your showcase of your group dance that you have, and they also teach there. It's so much fun, and you get to meet all these people. So yeah.
It's called Salsa Night in Pasadena. When we get back to normal, it will probably be not till next year.
Yeah.
But we do it every other month. I bring in a live salsa band. I teach a big workshop, and my student company performs, and it's a big party in a big warehouse with a lot of room to dance. So hopefully we can get back to that soon. I'm looking forward to it. I miss it. Hopefully we can get back to it soon.
I know you miss your dancing. I miss my weddings. We're all going crazy, but hopefully we'll work together in some of these couple dancing choreographies and stuff like that, because it's a lot of fun.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Gracias for tuning in. If this video was valuable for you, make sure to like and comment below. And of course, subscribe. See you next week. Bye.